guys, Courtney Tesno here. I am with the creator, Mara Akil. Such an honor right now because she is a trailblazer in creating TV, and it just dates back, what, 20 years now, Mara?
Yes. At first, you want to hide from that number, but I'm very proud of that number. Yes, a little over 20, actually.
And now you have your new show, Love Is, out on June 19th on OWN. You guys, I've had the honor of seeing 4 episodes so far, and you will be hooked like me when you see this show.
You're risking it all over some man you think you're in love with.
We're finally getting to you and your husband, this power couple in Hollywood. You guys are finally coming together and sharing your own story.
I know.
And
Lord.
I mean, we're touching on a lot of things in Love Is, but one thing that I instantly grabbed to is the fact that you guys are retelling your love stories, so you probably have to sit down and have some tough conversations, talking about past exes. How hard has that been working together?
We've already talked about past exes.
Okay.
The biggest conversation we had to say is, do you want, it's inspired by, yes, and you can still have some protection, but you are saying this is a lot of our story that we're sharing. And even if I say, no, that actually, I manipulated that, people are gonna believe what they wanna believe.
Yeah.
I'm not, and I think sharing the story is, again, another brave act. It's just another brave act that becomes less about you and more about shared experience that I think a lot of us can just relax our shoulders. I mean, we've all had that situation when you think you're the only one going through something good or bad. Mostly we obsess over the bad stuff.
Exactly.
And we think we're the only one making these dumb mistakes, and then you hear someone else's story and it just gives you a little relief. And I think that's something that we wanted to share and also reflect on, to basically say, and our biggest message is that love is achievable if you design it and define it for yourself. And I really want Nuri and Yasir to be ambassadors for the idea of designing and defining it, being the architects of your own life.
Yeah.
And also that we all are deserving. Showing Black love is needed because I think, so much of our storytelling is about survival, about hardship, suffering, overcoming, and now that makes for good storytelling. But we also, I just want to remind that we are worth loving. And we are loving.
You're someone, like I said, is a trailblazer. I heard you say that you were the Harriet Tubman of Black TV. And I feel that is so true because you create an authentic experience for our stories and Black excellence. I mean, just tell me about your journey and leading up to now.
Magical, which is a theme that runs through the show about love. People have asked, how do you do it? How do you do it? And it's magic. Sometimes you don't know what you're doing, you just leap. That's what I mean by the Harriet Tubman, is that I'm very proud of the fact that a lot of actors, a lot of writers, a lot of directors, a lot of costume designers, a lot of department heads rather, their first have come through by me having the opportunity to be in that place to open a door.
Right.
And so and that's been magical.
I think you're a unicorn in this industry. I really do, because
I love you, Courtney.
Thank you. But you're a unicorn because so many people find it hard to bring people up with them, and you're someone who's done that, from Girlfriends, being Mary Jane, and the list goes on with everything that you've done, co-creating Black Lightning, which is a success, but you have been someone who has been inclusive since day one. How hard was that coming up? Did you have any barriers? Was there a glass ceiling for you that you broke through before we got to where we are now?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of fights.
Yeah.
And I think you just have to be willing to battle strategically and respectfully. I learned how to do that. And I don't always know where my fearlessness, well, let me just say this, I was scared. Let me just be real clear about that. But I did it anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's funny when I think about even the character of Nuri in Love Is, I think sometimes people can inspired by me, could look at me almost naively, or maybe she is a little naive, but actually there's a bravery. There's a bravery to saying, I'm gonna fall in love with you, or I'm going to accept you, a man who doesn't have a lot of means. There's a lot of bravery in going into the studio and saying, no, Tracee Ellis Ross needs to wear her hair natural. And here you and I are sitting here our curls are big and out. That was not happening in the early 90s. That was not happening. Not to say that what was happening was wrong, it just was not inclusive of what was real. And just to take that fight up and say, no, we're gonna have her wear her natural hair. Yeah, remember the costume, it was a costume designer moment that she was just right for the job. It wasn't like I was just fighting for people randomly. I'm fighting for what's best for the show.
Exactly.
And look what happened with Girlfriends in terms of the fashion statement that it made. I remember there were some friends of mine who were attorneys, and they were like, Joan gave me permission to be fly in the office. You know,
But she did.
And she did. And so those things, those fights that we had, or I had, I'm thankful for them, and sometimes I don't know who that warrior is, but I keep leaping anyway. And
exactly. And then even with Love Is, the fact that you left it open-ended, I love that, because love is. Just love is.
Love is. I have this a fun story. So the show was titled something else.
Really?
And you know, and it's funny, Oprah is given, she hasn't given a lot of notes, but her notes are so on point. And I was in love with this other title, by the way.
Are you going to tell me what the other title is?
Yeah, it was called Documenting Love.
Documenting Love.
And you probably can see why when you see the show, because
Yes.
and I was in love with it. And she's like, And I was like, uh-oh. And so, but we talked about it. So I made a list and she was gonna make a list, and then we were gonna get back together and go over our list.
Yeah.
And do you know we both picked Love Is?
Really?
But when you have a moment like that, it was so much magic around this project. And when we landed on it and just sort of let it wash all over you, it is such an amazing title. I love it. I'm inspired by the title even. That blank is very inspiring to me.
I know you don't like this, Nuri, but this is what love looks like.
I noticed Nuri and Yasir. Is that inspired by your sons' names combined?
Yeah.
That is such a beautiful tribute.
And it's so funny. My oldest is Yassine, my youngest is Nasir, and of course you couldn't put one child's name over the other. That's just like horrible mommy 101. Yeah. So then when I put it together and then found out what the meaning was, I just was like, wow, how and truly the essence of who Salim is.
You chose two phenomenal actors to play you and Salim. Tell me, first I want to talk about Nuri, because I assume that she probably had a little bit of pressure playing you, loosely playing you.
I think she did phenomenal. What I do love, first of all, I prayed for them.
Okay.
I prayed for them, and so that and God answered immensely. I was like, thank you.
Yes.
I mean, and to have these fresh faces, but with depth of talent. I think Will represents he's just looking in his eyes, feeling his energy. It's very deep. It's very layered. Michelle, who I love, she has a brightness that I do believe is a bit of my essence, but it's complicated and layered as well. The only thing I got nervous about, because Michelle had these long curly tresses. I was like, I hope she read that stage direction where it says she had a Halle Berry haircut.
You're gonna have to chop it off.
And what was fun again, we went to Nico, who cut my hair back in 1996, 97.
Wow.
And so Nico cut her hair. And it's just been this journey. The Insomnia Cafe, we actually met there. We got to shoot there.
Wow.
The furniture store that's in the pilot, that was exactly the furniture store. That was exactly the same owner. That's exactly the corner of the furniture store that.
How did you guys look up and have that happen?
But that's my point. I mean, it could still be there, but even the reality that someone would actually rent it to you for filming and all that. Melrose, that was exactly the spot in which I saw him. So even to have those moments, the magic around these moments, and the magic of finding Michelle and Will, and as according to my kid, who was like, Mom, she looked like you. Mom,
well, when your kids say it, maybe a little.
So that helps too. It's a little fun, and I think Will just reminds me so much of Salim, his essence and his looks. I'm like, okay, this is a lot of fun.